They thought firing me would be the end of the story. Dead wrong. What happened in that boardroom 3 days ago changed everything. But to understand how a 25-year veteran got publicly humiliated, then turned the tables on a Fortune 500 CEO, you need to know about the silver anchor pen in my pocket and the phone call that happened 72 hours earlier. My name is Jake Reynolds. I'm 49 years old, and this is how a former Navy guy became the boss of the woman who tried to destroy him. Let me start at the moment it all went sideways. The red tulips felt solid in my grip as I stood outside the conference room. Simple gesture, I told myself. Welcome flowers for Victoria Cross, our new CEO. 25 years at Meridian Shipping had taught me that respect mattered more than titles. I wanted her first morning to feel like joining a family, not just another corporate takeover. My Navy training kicked in automatically. Assess the situation before entering. 8 years in logistics corps teaches you to read a room like a supply manifest. Through the glass, I could see the setup. Victoria at the head of the table, two freshly promoted VPs sitting ramrod straight with their notebooks ready. The energy felt wrong. Too formal, too staged. But I pushed through anyway. Sometimes you miss the warning signs even when your gut's screaming danger. The moment I stepped inside, the air shifted. Victoria didn't smile, didn't glance at the flowers. She straightened her blazer like she was preparing for battle and said with surgical precision, "Jake Reynolds, your time here is over." The words didn't register at first. 25 years of midnight calls, supply chain rescues, and crisis management. All of it collapsed into this single moment. Around the table, those VPs sat like they were waiting for me to argue. I looked at Victoria, waiting for some sign this was a joke. It wasn't. She slid a manila envelope across the polished wood, her eyes already dismissing me. My brain refused to process it. Hurricane relief logistics when half the Gulf Coast was underwater. I'd kept cargo moving through that disaster. The 2008 financial crisis, when I rerouted our entire Pacific operation through secondary ports to avoid bankruptcy. The longshoreman strike of 2019, when I personally negotiated with union leaders for 3 straight days until we found common ground. None of that mattered to her. Then she leaned forward, making sure the whole room could hear. This is the beginning of cultural transformation. Meridian must shed its legacy infrastructure to survive. Jake's departure signals our commitment to change. Legacy infrastructure. That's what 25 years of service got reduced to. I was outdated equipment in her corporate makeover. You could feel everyone holding their breath. I felt every eye on me, not with respect, but with pity. My welcome tulips suddenly felt ridiculous in my hands. I set them on the side table, their smell heavy in the stale air. Here's what Victoria didn't know, what nobody in that room knew. 2 days earlier, I had signed papers making me the majority owner of the company she thought she controlled. I reached for the envelope, my fingers brushing the anchor pen I always carried. Silver, engraved with my name and 25 years of service. The weight of it grounded me against the wave of anger building in my chest. Victoria straightened, satisfied with her performance. She had no idea this moment wouldn't be remembered as her triumph. It would be remembered as the spark that lit her downfall. But let me back up to 2 days before the humiliation, when everything started moving. My phone rang late Sunday evening. I almost ignored it. I was trying to lose myself in a book, anything to quiet the worry about rumors of major changes coming. The name flashing across the screen stopped me cold. Wade Patterson. Wade wasn't just Meridian's founder. To those of us who'd been here since the early days, he was the company itself. Built it from a 3-truck operation into a $500 million shipping empire. Started the same way I did, Navy logistics, then civilian shipping. He'd retired 5 years back, tired of fighting with investors who cared more about quarterly reports than moving cargo. When Wade called, you answered. Period. Jake. His voice was steady, deliberate. Navy trained like mine. I need to see you. Tonight. 30 minutes later, I sat in his study. Oak panels, maritime charts on the walls, the smell of old leather and pipe tobacco. Wade looked older, but his eyes still had that sharpness I remembered from the crisis years, when he seemed to think 10 moves ahead of everyone else. He pushed a stack of papers toward me. Time to hand this company's future to someone who's earned it. I blinked. Wade, what are you saying? I'm selling my remaining 42% to you. He leaned back in his chair. Controlling interest. The whole thing. The numbers didn't compute. 42% of Meridian was worth around $50 million. My divorce had been expensive, but between my savings, retirement fund, and what I could leverage against future ownership. Jake, you've been running this company's operations for 15 years while the board played with spreadsheets. You know every port from Long Beach to Singapore. Every union leader from Seattle to Savannah trusts your word. Every customs official knows you deliver what you promise. He reached into his desk and pulled out a silver pen. Not just any pen, his original Navy anchor pen from when he founded the company. He placed it carefully in my hand. This was mine when I signed Meridian's founding documents. More than ink, it's a symbol of what this company stands for. Maritime tradition, operational integrity, getting the job done no matter what. The pen felt warm into my palm, heavier than it looked. I'd seen Wade use this pen to sign million-dollar contracts, union agreements, expansion deals that shaped the company. I've watched the boards circle like vultures. I know who's loyal to Meridian and who's loyal only to themselves. You've sacrificed more than anyone. Your ex-wife wasn't wrong about that. My throat tightened. Sarah, my daughter, was 20 now, in college. How many of her school events had I missed for emergency shipments? How many family dinners interrupted by dock strikes or customs delays? The marriage didn't survive my dedication to keeping cargo moving, but Sarah understood. She'd grown up watching me handle crises that would break other people. That loyalty matters, Wade continued. This Victoria Cross they hired, Harvard MBA, McKinsey consultant, zero real-world logistics experience. She's going to tear apart everything we built, all in the name of digital transformation and operational synergy. I'd heard the buzzwords already. Victoria had been talking about AI-driven logistics platforms and eliminating inefficient human networks since her first week. Remember the Tacoma Bridge collapse in 2007? Wade asked. While other companies were filing insurance claims and writing off losses, you had our cargo rerouted through Portland and Vancouver in 18 hours. Victoria would have been on conference calls with consultants for a week. That brought back memories. Sarah was 15 then, and I'd missed her debate team championship because I was in a truck cab with a driver, personally ensuring our most critical shipment made it through the chaos. She'd won first place anyway and called me from the school parking lot, so excited she could barely speak. Dad, I won. I wish you could have been there, but I know you were helping people. That's the thing about Sarah. She never made me feel guilty about the work. She understood that moving cargo meant keeping factories running, stores stocked, people employed. But the guilt was always there anyway. Here's the thing, Wade said, his voice dropping lower. We keep this quiet for now. I want to see who reveals their true nature when they think you have no power. Their arrogance will expose them. And when the time comes, you won't just defend yourself, you'll decide the future of this company. That's when I knew this wasn't just about ownership. It was about watching people show who they really were when they thought nobody was keeping score. I signed my name with Wade's anchor pen, the silver catching the lamplight. The weight of it felt like destiny clicking into place. 25 years of building relationships, solving problems, earning trust, all of it had led to this moment. Jake, Wade said as I finished signing, tomorrow morning put on your uniform and go to work like nothing's changed. Let Victoria think she's won. The truth will come out when it needs to. I looked at him confused. Uniform? Wade smiled. Your game face, son. The same composure you had under fire in the Navy. Don't let her see what's coming. I understood. In the Navy, we called it tactical patience. Sometimes the best strategy was letting your enemy think they had the advantage while you positioned for the real fight. As I drove home that night, Wade's anchor pen secure in my pocket, I thought about the 25 years that had brought me to this point. From Navy logistics coordinator to the majority owner of a $500 million company, Victoria Cross had no idea what she was dealing with, but she was about to find out. 2 days later, Victoria Cross walked into Meridian thinking she owned the place. She had no idea that my signature in silver ink had already made her the intruder. I showed up to the office the morning after her announcement carrying an empty cardboard box instead of those tulips. The walk down the corridor felt different. Conversations stopped when I passed. Not out of meanness, but that awkward quiet you get when people know they're watching something unfair and can't do anything about it. My office still had the same view of the port of Seattle I'd been staring at for 25 years. Container cranes moving like giant metal birds, 18-wheelers lined up waiting for cargo. This was my world. I'd kept this operation running through 3 recessions, 2 major strikes, and more natural disasters than I cared to count. I started packing. Crisis management awards from when Hurricane Katrina knocked out half our Gulf routes and I rerouted everything through Mexico in 72 hours. Letters from the International Longshoremen's Association thanking me for fair negotiations during the 2019 strike. A photo with customs officials in Long Beach after I helped streamline their inspection process, saving everyone hours of paperwork. The coffee mug with the chip on the handle, gift from the Seattle dock workers after I helped them through the automation disputes. These weren't just co-workers, they were people I'd earned respect from the hard way. Danny Martinez, my operations manager, had been a dock worker when I hired him 15 years ago. Now he ran logistics for our entire West Coast operation. Through my glass walls, I watched my team trying not to stare. You could see the questions in their faces. What happens to us now? Who's going to handle the union negotiations? Who knows which customs inspector prefers coffee versus donuts? My phone buzzed. Text from Danny. The dock workers are asking questions. Without you handling union relations, Victoria is looking at a potential strike. That got my attention. The Teamsters contract was up for renewal in 6 months. Those negotiations required someone who understood both sides, the operational pressures and the workers' real concerns. Victoria's MBA might have covered labor relations in theory, but she'd never spent a morning in a hard hat talking through safety protocols with guys who moved cargo for a living. Another text, this one from our biggest client, Peterson Manufacturing. Jake heard rumors about changes at Meridian. Our Tokyo shipment is already delayed. What's going on? The Peterson contract alone was worth $12 million annually. They trusted me personally to handle their high-priority shipments. Their automotive parts went to plants where a day's delay could shut down entire assembly lines. Victoria didn't understand that relationships like this took years to build and could be destroyed in one bad conversation. I folded my jacket and thought about the real cost of Victoria's transformation. She saw inefficiencies to eliminate. I saw relationships that kept the company alive. The memory that still cut deepest hit me as I packed my stuff. 3 years ago, my father's funeral. I'd been standing in our crisis center, coordinating emergency reroutes after a bridge collapse in Portland. Maps covering every wall, red pins marking backup routes, phones ringing nonstop. Sarah had called from the funeral home. Dad, where are you? We're starting in 10 minutes. Honey, I'm dealing with a major situation. 40 trucks stranded, perishable cargo worth millions. Dad, it's Grandpa's funeral. I'd stayed. Told myself the company needed me more than a ceremony for someone who was already gone. Convinced myself that keeping jobs secure, cargo moving, was the greater good. Sarah forgave me eventually. She understood that sometimes duty comes before everything else, something she'd learned growing up as a Navy kid. But I never forgave myself, and now Victoria was calling that dedication legacy infrastructure. My office door opened. Danny Martinez walked in, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Jake, this is wrong. Everyone knows it. Sometimes wrong happens, Danny. You just keep your head down and take care of your people. The union reps are already making calls. Victoria's planning to outsource port coordination to some AI platform. She thinks computers can replace relationships. I almost laughed. Victoria probably thought maritime logistics was just moving dots on a digital map. She had no clue that getting cargo through ports meant knowing which customs inspector had kids in college and worked overtime for extra money, which dock supervisor would stay late for urgent shipments, which trucking dispatch managers could find drivers during peak season. Danny, you've got 20 years of institutional knowledge they can't download into any system. Use it. What about you? I slid the last file into my box. Don't worry about me. I've got options she doesn't know about. That afternoon, my phone rang. Tommy from our Hong Kong office. Jake, Victoria's been on video calls all morning talking about streamlining international partnerships. She wants to replace our local agents with some centralized platform. I rubbed my temples. Our Hong Kong operation moved $8 billion in cargo annually. It worked because Tommy had spent 15 years building relationships with shipping lines, customs brokers, and freight forwarders. You couldn't replace that with an app, no matter what some Harvard MBA thought. Tommy, just document everything. Every relationship, every contact, every process that actually works. Make sure it's all written down. You think she's really going to blow this up? I think she doesn't understand what she's messing with. But here's what Victoria didn't know while she was busy dismantling 2 decades of careful relationship building. That evening, I got a text from someone I'd mentored years back, a junior analyst named Alex who'd been in her staff meeting that day. Jake, thought you should hear this. Attached was an audio file. I pressed play sitting in my truck in the company parking lot. Victoria's voice filled the cab, dripping with the kind of arrogance that comes from never having your theories tested by reality. Legacy infrastructure like Jake represents exactly the kind of outdated thinking we need to eliminate. His so-called network is just inefficient human dependencies that technology can optimize. We'll make his departure a symbol of our commitment to innovation. The recording was crystal clear. She wasn't just firing me, she was using me as a poster boy for everything she wanted to destroy. My jaw tightened. This wasn't about efficiency or innovation. This was about a consultant who needed to justify her existence by tearing down what others had built. I played it again. Victoria continued, "These old-school operators think their relationships are irreplaceable. They don't understand that data analytics and artificial intelligence can optimize every aspect of logistics without the human error factor." Human error factor. 25 years of crisis management, and I was just a glitch in her algorithm. I thought about the Tacoma Bridge collapse Wade had mentioned. While other companies panicked, I'd been on the phone with truck drivers, port supervisors, and customs officials. Real people solving real problems in real time. No AI could have done that. No algorithm could have convinced a tired driver to take one more run or a customs inspector to stay late on a Friday. For the first time since my dismissal, I allowed myself a thin smile. Victoria had just handed me the ammunition I might need later. Her own words, recorded by her own team, showing exactly what she thought of the people who actually made this company work. But she had no idea that while she was busy making enemies, the man she just called legacy infrastructure now held the keys to her kingdom. And unlike her, I knew how to be patient. Wade's words echoed in my head. Let them show their true nature. Victoria was doing exactly that, one arrogant statement at a time. Friday morning arrived heavy with expectation. The board of directors was gathering in the executive conference suite, that intimidating room with the 20-foot mahogany table and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Seattle's shipping district. At the far end sat a chair unlike the others. A simple placard in front of it read, "Reserved. Majority shareholder." I wasn't there yet. I waited in the hallway outside, checking my watch like I was coordinating a convoy movement. Timing was everything in logistics, whether you're getting a critical shipment through customs or staging a corporate takeover. Through the frosted glass, I could see silhouettes moving, hear voices settling in. Victoria's voice cut through the rest, confident and commanding. "Today marks the beginning of Meridian's transformation. We're restructuring from top to bottom. Legacy systems will be replaced with AI-driven efficiency platforms. Human dependencies will be minimized." The board members were nodding along. Most were financial guys, investment bankers, private equity partners, portfolio managers. They understood spreadsheets better than shipping manifests. To them, Victoria's buzzwords probably sounded like progress. My phone buzzed. Text from Danny. "Port Authority confirms. Victoria's changes already causing backup at Terminal 46. 3-day delay on Peterson's automotive parts shipment." Another text from Tommy in Hong Kong, Shanghai shipping line threatening to pull contract. "They won't work with Victoria's optimization platform. Want to deal directly with you." And then the one that made me grin. Letter from the Teamsters Local 174. "Union notification. If Jake Reynolds is not restored to operational oversight, we invoke the dispute resolution clause. Work slowdown begins Monday." Victoria had been CEO for exactly 1 week. In that time, she'd managed to anger our biggest client, alienate our most important international partner, and provoke a union dispute. All in the name of eliminating inefficient human networks. I adjusted my tie and reached into my pocket, feeling the weight of Wade's anchor pin. The metal was cool against my fingers, steady and reassuring like a good sidearm. Inside the boardroom, Victoria continued her dog and pony show. "The new investor I mentioned aligns completely with our vision. Their absence today is simply procedural. Consider it silent approval of our strategic direction." That got some murmurs. Board members exchanged glances. In my experience, mystery investors usually showed up when hundreds of millions were at stake, but Victoria was selling it like everything was under control. Furthermore, she pressed on. "We've identified several operational redundancies that need immediate elimination. Our international coordination can be handled remotely through centralized platforms. Manual union negotiations can be replaced with standardized contracts, and our crisis management protocols can be automated through predictive analytics." I almost laughed out loud. She was describing a fantasy. Maritime logistics wasn't a video game where you could optimize everything through code. It was about relationships, trust, and the kind of institutional knowledge that took decades to build. Remember the West Coast port strikes of 2015? While other companies sat around waiting for official resolution, I was on the phone with union leaders I'd worked with for years, finding creative ways to keep critical cargo moving. You can't automate that kind of problem solving. You can't download 20 years of earned trust. The secretary hurried in, carrying a tablet and looking nervous. She whispered something to Victoria, who glanced at the screen and waved her off like she was swatting a fly. "As I was saying," Victoria continued, her voice louder now, "our path forward is clear. Sentiment has no place in modern logistics. We operate on data, not emotion." That's when my phone lit up with the notification I'd been waiting for. The SEC filing had gone live. Every board member's device would be pinging simultaneously with the ownership update in about 10 seconds. I watched through the frosted glass as confusion rippled through the room. Tablets and phones came out like everyone was checking the same emergency alert. Notification of ownership change, the alert read. As of Tuesday, Jake Reynolds holds 42% of voting shares in Meridian Shipping Corporation. This update supersedes all prior records. Board recognition of ownership is required immediately. The room went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop in that conference room. Victoria's confident smile died on her face. She grabbed the secretary's tablet, reading the notification like she was trying to decode a foreign language. Her face went pale as the numbers sank in. "This has to be an error," she said, her voice cracking for the first time since I'd known her. Reynolds was terminated. He has no standing here. But the board was already looking toward that empty chair marked majority shareholder. You could see the pieces clicking into place in their heads. I straightened my shoulders, military bearing kicking in automatically, and pushed through the frosted glass doors. The effect was immediate. Every head turned as my dress shoes hit the polished floor. I didn't rush, didn't make some dramatic entrance like this was a movie, just walked with the steady confidence of someone who'd earned the right to be there. Victoria froze mid-sentence, her mouth opening and closing like she was trying to process what she was seeing. For someone who talked a big game about data and analytics, she looked like her whole operating system had just crashed. I didn't speak yet. Sometimes silence is the most powerful weapon you have. In the Navy, we called it command presence, the ability to control a room just by walking into it. I let my presence fill the space, let the tension build while everyone waited to see what would happen next. The anchor pen was visible in my right hand, not brandished like some kind of sword, just held naturally at my side. A few board members recognized it. Wade had used that pen to sign some of their contracts over the years. "This is impossible," Victoria stammered, finding her voice. "The SEC filing must be fraudulent." Jake was dismissed under my authority. I took one slow step toward the reserved chair. Still didn't sit. Just stood beside it, letting the symbolism speak for itself. 25 years of working my way up from logistics coordinator to operations manager to the man who actually ran this company while the board played with numbers. "Your authority?" I said quietly, my voice calm and measured. "Navy training teaches you to stay steady under pressure, whether you're dealing with hostile fire or hostile executives. That authority ends where ownership begins." The room was so quiet you could hear the air conditioning humming through the vents. Victoria's polished consultant facade was cracking like ice in a spring thaw. "The board has no obligation to recognize this. You're undermining everything we've built." "Everything you've built?" I let that hang in the air for a moment. "In 1 week, you've triggered a union dispute, alienated our biggest client, and threatened our most important international partnerships. That's not building, that's demolition." Board member Gerald Patterson, Wade's old friend, been on the board for 15 years, leaned back in his chair. He'd been quiet through Victoria's presentation, but now he spoke up with the authority of someone who'd seen real leadership. "For the record, I vote to recognize Jake's ownership status and restore his operational authority." The effect was like dominoes falling. Another director nodded, then another. These weren't personal loyalties. They were business decisions. Victoria's week of disasters had made the choice easy for anyone with half a brain. "This is outrageous," Victoria said, but her voice had lost all its command presence. She looked around the table, searching for allies who were no longer there. I finally lowered myself into the majority shareholder's chair. The leather creaked softly, but in that room it sounded like a judge's gavel falling. I placed the manila envelope, the same one Victoria had slid across to me 3 days earlier, on the table in front of me. Then I withdrew Wade's anchor pen, setting it down with the kind of careful precision you use when you're about to sign something that changes everything. "This pen," I said, looking directly at Victoria, "was given to me by Wade Patterson when I signed the ownership transfer. It represents continuity, maritime tradition, and the will of the company's founder. It also represents something you've never understood, that relationships aren't inefficiencies to be optimized. They're the foundation everything else is built on." I pulled out the ownership documents and began to sign, the pen scratching against paper in the silent room. The sound was soft, but it carried the weight of finality. Each letter of my name felt like reclaiming something that had been stolen. When I finished, I looked up at Victoria. She was sitting rigid in her chair, the fight completely gone out of her. "From this moment forward," I said evenly, "you report directly to me." You could feel the relief wash over the boardroom. Some directors sat straighter. Others exchanged looks that said they'd been waiting for this moment all week. The tension that had been building since Victoria's arrival finally broke like a fever. Gerald Patterson started clapping. Hesitant at first, then firm and steady. A few others joined in. Not thunderous applause, but the kind that comes from people grateful to see competence restored to leadership. Victoria's jaw tightened, but she didn't protest anymore. The silence around her made it clear she was finished arguing. I stood up, gathering my papers. Wade's anchor pen slid easily back into my pocket, right where it belonged. Victoria, I'll need you to prepare a full operational briefing by Monday morning. Every contract, every vendor relationship, every ongoing negotiation. We're going to fix what's been broken this week. She nodded stiffly. The arrogance had drained out of her completely. As I headed for the door, Gerald Patterson spoke up. Jake, what's your first priority? I paused, calling Tommy in Hong Kong to smooth things over with our Shanghai partners. Then I need to sit down with the Teamsters and work out this dispute before it escalates. After that, I'll personally call Peterson Manufacturing and guarantee their automotive shipment gets back on track. Real problems requiring real solutions. Not buzzwords or theoretical frameworks, but the actual work of keeping a shipping company running. The walk back to my office felt completely different than it had 3 days earlier. People weren't avoiding eye contact anymore. Danny Martinez was waiting by my door with a grin that could have powered the whole building. How'd it go, boss? About like you'd expect. Victoria's still CEO, but she reports to me now. First order of business. Get me Ray Sullivan on the phone. We've got some fence mending to do with the union. My office looked the same as when I'd packed it up, except now my cardboard box was sitting on the desk instead of heading for the parking lot. I started unpacking. The Crisis Management Awards went back on the wall. The photo with the dock workers returned to its spot next to my computer. My phone rang. Wade Patterson. Heard things got interesting this morning, he said. I could hear the satisfaction in his voice. Victoria's learning that logistics isn't a theoretical exercise. Think she'll stick around? Depends how much she likes eating humble pie. She's got an MBA and consulting experience. But now she knows those don't mean much when you're trying to move 10,000 containers through a port that's threatening to shut down. Wade chuckled. Navy trains you to respect competence over credentials. Victoria just got a master class in the difference. That afternoon, I spent 2 hours on the phone with Lu Wei, our Shanghai shipping partner. Victoria's optimization platform had insulted him by trying to automate negotiations that required personal attention and cultural understanding. It took some work, but I managed to salvage the relationship. Mr. Jake, Lu Wei said in his careful English, we do business with people we trust, not with computers. You understand this. The Teamsters meeting went even better. Union President Ray Sullivan and I had history. I'd negotiated fairly with his guys for 15 years. He called off the work slowdown in exchange for my personal guarantee that I'd handle all future automation discussions. Jake, we're not against progress, Ray said over coffee in his office. We just want someone who understands that behind every optimization is a real person with a family to feed. By 6 p.m., I was alone in my office, finally allowing myself a moment to absorb what had happened. 3 days ago, I'd been carrying flowers to welcome a new boss. Now I was that boss's boss, with controlling interest in a company I'd helped build. My phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. Dad, heard through the grapevine something big happened at work. Everything okay? I smiled as I typed back, better than okay, honey? Your old man just proved that experience still counts for something. Her response came immediately. Proud of you, Dad. Maybe now you can make it to my graduation next month. That hit me harder than Victoria's insults ever could. How many moments had I missed over the years? How many times had I chosen cargo over family, deadlines over dinners? I typed back, wouldn't miss it for the world. In fact, I'm thinking of taking a real vacation after. Maybe we could do that Alaskan cruise you've been talking about. Really? You'd actually take time off? One of the benefits of being the boss, I can delegate crisis management for a week. 3 months later, Victoria was gone. She'd submitted her resignation with the standard corporate language about pursuing other opportunities. The truth was simpler. She'd discovered that running a shipping company required skills you couldn't learn in business school. The company was stronger now. Our contracts were secure, the union was happy, and our international partnerships had never been better. Sometimes the best leadership is just knowing when to trust the people who actually do the work. Wade's anchor pen still sits in my pocket every day. Not just a writing instrument, but a reminder that competence, loyalty, and institutional knowledge still matter in a world increasingly obsessed with disruption for its own sake. If you've ever felt undervalued at your job, overlooked for your experience, or pushed aside by someone who confused credentials with competence, you understand why this story matters. Because in the end, the work speaks for itself, and the people who really know how to get things done are the ones who keep the world running. Sometimes justice doesn't roar. It just quietly proves that experience beats theory, relationships trump algorithms, and the guy with the anchor pen gets to keep sailing,